In this video, we're going to be building this action figure diorama display piece. We're going to be using the hot wire foam cutter to cut most of the pieces out, using some 2-inch foam and some 1-inch foam. I got this compass here because I already had the paper insert I was going to use for the window, so I'm just taking a quick measurement here to try and get the size of the window cut correctly on the foam, just using the compass to trace that on there, and then I'll cut this out. Also, because I was going to be splitting the foam, I needed a clamp to kind of hold it together, so I was starting to think about how to do that. Laying out all the bricks and blocks we're going to put on the front of this. Just putting some marks on there, and then using the straight edge and a knife to cut the lines into the foam, which will open up with a pencil later. As usual, I like to texture things just using a rock. A rock and an aluminum foil ball was also used here and there, although I don't think I got it on camera. Just take a rock and keep turning it so the pattern doesn't look too repeat, even though it does look pretty repetitive right there. But I textured over it eventually, and it came out fine. Taking our knife and just taking little chunks out of the corners around these blocks to make them look a little bit more worn, a little more stone-like, and less like a manufactured cinder block. I'm using this hot knife. It's one of the adapters I have for a 3-in-1 hot wire cutter. I don't usually use this too much, but it's working pretty well. I used the first part of that clip in normal speed so you can see how fast it was actually cutting, and then I sped it up a little bit. I was worried it was going to come out very uneven because they do tend to melt a lot, but it came out pretty good. You do have to keep wiping it off though because it gets a lot of gunk melted on there. So at this point I realized that I couldn't cut this in half on my hot wire cutter. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about how tall this was going to be, so I had to chop the whole thing in half in order to make the design that I was thinking in my head work. Fortunately, it did work out, but I had to improvise a bit. This is one of the rails that's going to hold the top part of the, I don't even know what to call it, the part that holds the window on there. As you can see, I'm using some Aleene's tacky glue, a couple of toothpicks, and I'm also going to use some hot glue right here to fit the two sections of the broken circle together. I'm going to do this on both sides, and it wasn't perfectly even, but it worked out just fine. Now we're working on the top piece that's going to hold the two parts of the, I don't know what to call it, the top part that's going to hold the mirror, the window. I suppose it's like almost like a clamp, but this cap part is what's going to provide the pressure, keeping everything together. And it fits on there perfectly. And you can see right here how it's kind of all going to sit together. We still have to put that rail on the back, and then we're going to put the two side beams on. It's going to make everything stick together. I could have done more intricate bricks on the sides, but I was just thinking, you know what, I just want to go ahead and make these blocks, and it came out pretty good overall. And once I did one side, I just used the measurements from that side, copied over onto the other one, because, you know, why not? I realized at this point that I had left these sides kind of bland looking, so I just went through and added some bricks and a little bit of texture. Once I had all that glued together, I could see that everything was fitting together pretty well. I started adding little bits of blocks and rubble here and there, and I'm using this foam glue that's like basing glue from Army Painter. They sent it to me in a kit a long time ago to do a promotional video, but I had some of it left over, and it really works very, very well. And also this basing material is good too. It actually dries way, way quicker than PVA glue, so I've been pretty happy with that stuff. Just painting everything black, not going to use any Mod Podge or anything on this, just straight black paint. It took 2 coats and a little bit of touch-up to get it completely black. Starting with a very dark gray and a soft brush, and we're just going to dry brush over everything, but not too heavy. I'm trying to go kind of light with this. I want it to have a lot of the black coming through even at the end, so it still looks kind of, you know, burnt out and rubbly. Using a lighter gray but still fairly dark here just to pick out some of the spots and kind of do some highlight, but I'm not doing a very heavy dry brush, and I'm kind of trying to randomize it a little bit here and there, so it's not just, you know, over the entire thing evenly. So this was looking pretty good. Everything was fitting together pretty well. I was going to do a test fit here to see how that looks, and everything worked out well when I did this. I didn't have enough paint to paint the backside black. I actually ran out of black paint while I was making this, so I had to run out to the store and get some later, and I actually did paint the black on the back and some of the other spots. Although the part where the 2 pieces go together at the top there, I didn't want to put too much paint up there because sometimes paint sticks, and I wanted it to have a smooth action going on and off. But you can see with the light behind there, even though it's just paper with a bit of acrylic plastic sheet in front of it, it still looks pretty good. Finally, I decided to use a light gray, just a little bit of light gray, to do a highlight here and there. And every time you do a layer of dry brushing, I'm trying to make sure I do just like much less paint on each layer. So this is just going to be a little line around the side, almost like what they call, what is it, edge lighting or edge lining or something like that when they do figures. So yeah, just a little bit here and there to kind of make the edges pop. So I think it looks really cool having the light behind the window like that. I actually have it set up on my desk with a light shining behind it right now, and it's I'm liking it. So here's what we got. This is done being painted. This is as far as I'm gonna take it. I was thinking about adding some green moss on here, but I actually just kind of like it with the black and the gray. I think it looks pretty cool. Kind of gives me Warhammer vibes a little bit. I'll take some other shots of this when it's on the table with a bunch of other stuff around it, because I have a little area set up that I could, put a couple of pieces up at once. I still haven't painted the back of it black. I was out of black paint, running low on black paint when I was making this, so I'll paint the back here in a little bit. But yeah, this was an experiment basically, because I wasn't sure exactly if I thought the paper would look good as the stained glass window, but pretty happy with it, and I'll definitely be using that for some other projects.